Guys, it's Ben Zinn with nextlevelguitar.com, and today we have another of our Inspired by lessons for you. And today we're going to look at some cool pacing strategies for our soloing when we're playing over a classic rock vibe. Sometimes we get a longer solo if we're lucky, and we don't want to use up all of our ideas in the first few bars. So I'm going to show you guys some different rhythms that you can apply to some of your lead ideas to help out with your pacing. So let's check it out. Hey, before we continue on, please take a look at the link down here below in the YouTube text box. There's a link for a free video lesson and a corresponding ebook. We'll send that to you from nextlevelguitar.com, absolutely free. A lot of great stuff in there, so please check that out and we'll continue on. So today we're going to learn 4 different rhythms that you can apply to your lead playing, like I said, to help you out with your pacing and to give you what I like to call some different gears to shift in between. Sometimes I like to think about lead playing like a manual transmission on a car, right? You have 4 or 5 gears or 6, depending, what kind of car you have, and you can shift in and out of those, and it gives you different options for how fast you want to go. Same sort of approach that we'll take today with our lead playing. So let's start by taking a look at the scale pattern that we're going to use. I used a couple of different ideas here. Basically an A minor and an A blues scale. So we'll take you through those positions real quick, and then we'll take a look at some of the examples. First off, we have an A minor that kind of shifts positions here. I'm going to start in the 2nd position, which means that my first finger would get 2nd fret. So I'm going to start by playing my pinky on the 5th fret. Now I'm going to shift, and now I'm going to shift again to get 7th fret here. And the rest of this is kind of like a blues scale. The other position that I used was just your good old-fashioned A blues scale that we all know and love. Here it is once again for a review. But of course, you can take away some of the concepts that we're going to learn in today's lesson and really apply them to any scale. And that's how you get the most mileage out of this stuff, is to experiment with it and make it your own. So first rhythm that I want to talk about is playing on the offbeat. So playing on the and count, kind of accenting on the and count. I did a run to open that was something like this. So by playing on the and gives me a different feel than just playing right on the beat. So let's take a look at playing on the and against the chord progression. So what I did there was I created an entire phrase out of just running up my scale pattern, but playing it with a particular rhythm. To really isolate the rhythm, a lot of times I like to play it just on a muted string. So here's that rhythm on a muted string. 1 and 1 and 1 So really by playing something with a particular rhythmic phrasing like that, it gives it a little bit more character than just running up and down our scales. So that's what we would call gear 1. Our second gear is going to be our sort of gallop rhythm, this sort of thing. So second gear, we have our rhythm played on a muted string. Let's take a look at how we could apply that to our scale run. So there you have it, second gear. Now using that rhythmic idea, I can play all sorts of ideas. That's just one concept that you can use. Again, use that scale as a template and use that rhythm as a sort of funnel that you're channeling your scale through, and you guys can come up with a lot of cool stuff too. Third gear, I'm going to play eighth note triplets, or 3 notes for every beat. You can start by just kind of counting these in groups of 3s, and you can even play your scale in groups of 3s to get a good feel for them before you deviate. So maybe something descending through the scale. Again, groupings of 3. Okay, so now taking your third gear and playing it against the progression. Again, just try to play 3 evenly spaced notes for every beat and come up with some phrases based on that. The example that we're going to give you is a nice sort of sequenced phrase. Once again, once you have that down, experiment with it and see if you guys can come up with some cool stuff too. Okay, so we've kicked it into gears 1, 2, and 3, and we're ready to rev it into gear 4. So gear 4, just unleash the 16th notes, like unleash the fury. So you can just play a nice steady stream of 16th notes, 4 evenly spaced notes per beat, and you have your final gear. So an example of something that we could do over this progression in all 16th notes. Okay, so steady 16th notes. Let's take you through the lick, and we'll show you kind of how that all fits together with the 16th notes now. So I'm going to start up here at the 8th fret, and I'm going to utilize a lot of pull-offs here to kind of help with the speed. I'll pull off 8th 5, back to string 2, pull off both of these notes, 8 7 5, back to string 3, pull off 7 to 5, back to string 4, and just finish up my scale pattern there. And you'll notice on the way down I didn't play that note there. Skip past that guy. So all together nice and slow. More often than not, you're going to pull off to the lower notes to kind of help with the speed there. And so in context, I saved my fast stuff for last. And a lot of times when you have a longer stretch of time that you're playing a solo, maybe you want to save some of the big guns for later. And the concept here is to be able to, again, shift gears, start out a little bit slower, and build the anticipation by changing up your phrasing with your lead playing. So gears 1 through 4. Hopefully that gives you guys some cool concepts to work with as well. Thanks again so much for joining us today. Once again, I'm Ben Zinn, and we're here today for nextlevelguitar.com. Speaking of which, go over to that website and check that out. We have a ton of great additional stuff for you guys there. There's over 1,000 different lessons for players of all ages, skill levels, beginner on through advanced. So a lot of great stuff there. Be sure and check that out, and we'll see you back here next time.